Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I am Tamika Thompson and I am the owner and resume writer at Thompson Resume Writing Company. And for this video, I am going to be giving you some easy resume formatting and layout tips that you can use as you're laying your resume out in Microsoft Word. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I abhor templates. I tell everybody, do not hop yourself on Google or Canva or Etsy and download one of those crazy complex resume templates. You always want to use Microsoft Word over any other type of system or program when creating or writing your resume. But I understand that not everybody is the best with Microsoft Word. I am a pro at it, so I know all the tricks of the trade when it comes to leveraging all of the different tools in Microsoft Word to create a very simple and easy yet effective resume. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Number one on this list is to position all of your headlines either all the way to the left or in the center, so having it right in the middle. What a lot of people will do is they will justify or format their headers to the right, which is what you do not want to do because the eye naturally reads from left to right. So having something over here and then having the eye go here, like it's unnatural when your eye naturally goes from here to here. So some things that you may have as a headline includes your name, your targeted statement or your targeted headline, as well as the section headers that separate the different sections of information within your resume. So your education header, your job experience header, your associations and membership headers, and so on. And it's also important to note that your headlines or your headers are going to be the only items that may be a larger or increased font size. So your name may be like a size 14 or 15, and the rest of your resume is going to be a lower size font. Headers are also typically going to be the only things that you are going to have bolded on your resume as well. This is what I mean by making sure that you align, your headers and your name and everything center or like off to the left. So you can see like my name is centered. It's not all the way over here. Like that just that just looks so weird to me. I could have had it here or I could have had it here, but I am someone who really likes to kind of, I guess, centerize everything. So again, as you see, like all of my headers and all of like the items that are in the larger font size are centered. So my name is centered, my targeted statement is centered, my targeted headline and support and sub headline is centered, section headers are centered. And as you can see, like all of my sentences read from left to right, left to right, left to right. Number two on this list, and I feel like I kind of just gave it away, but that is to use a size 9 or 10 font size for your body copy or for your supporting copy in your resume. This means your job bullet points, your skill section, your professional summary, your targeted summary, anything that is going to be within the section of your resume. So the information that's going to be under or after your section header is going to be in size 9 or 11. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of either making their font size either too big, meaning size 12 or 13, and that is going to make your resume way longer than it should be. So your resume should only be 2 pages. But if you're using a larger font size, you're going to have less space, and that is going to cause you to exceed that 2-page length. Another mistake is people will make their resume font size too small. So they'll use like a size 7.5 or 8, which is nuts, because who wants to be squinting all at the document like that? And some people will do that so that everything fits on their resume. And if you have to do that, you probably are including too much information on your resume in the first place. Maybe you're going too far back into your job history, or maybe you have way too many job bullet points on there. But the sweet spot for font size is 9, 10, maybe 11, especially when it boils down to creating a mobile friendly resume. Font size is really important. That is going to be the key item that is going to determine whether you can stay within that 1 to 1.5 to 2 page length maximum. Again, using too big of a font size means that you're going to run out of space, and having a font that is too small is going to make the document a little bit difficult to read. You can see in my resume, I am using a size 10 font all throughout the document, which I think is just enough. If it were any larger, I think I'm just at 2 pages because I have so much experience. Yeah, I'm right at the 2 page maximum length. If I were to have my font size any bigger, let's say 13, it would make it way too long. And as you can see, it just pushes everything down. So if I had all of this in size 13, my resume would just be ridiculously long. And as you can see, the larger my font size is, the longer my resume gets. So right now, even with just these few text blocks being increased, I'm already at 3 pages. So this is another reason why you don't want to use a font size that is too big. The only thing that should be large or the biggest font size on your resume should be, again, your name, your targeted headline, maybe increase the font size for your section headers, but it's not necessary. And if all of this was any smaller, it would be difficult to read. So let's say I made this an 8. That is super duper tiny. But again, people will do this to fit everything on their resume. And yeah, you can zoom in, but like, who the heck wants to do that, right? Number 3 on this list is to use clean, crisp fonts such as Arial, Garamond, Calibri, or a favorite of mine, which is Arial Narrow. Now, you do not want to be using Times New Roman font on your resume because it's super duper outdated. And you also don't want to use any complicated fonts, so any cursive fonts, anything in italics, anything that's really small. Some people will like to use cutesy fonts, like fonts that are super cute, but that can sometimes decrease the readability and the appearance of your resume, and that's what you don't want. Because if a recruiter is going to have a difficult time reading your resume or interpreting the information on it, they are not going to be calling you. So stick to those fonts that we just talked about. Those tend to be the most common modern resume fonts that are appropriate to use on your resume. I am using the font Arial on my resume. I typically use this font very, very often, especially for most of my clients. It's just one of my favorite fonts. It's very smooth, very clean. It doesn't have, anything crazy in there. If I were to change this to Calibri, this is what it would look like. Not bad. If I were to change this to Garamond, this is what it would look like. And Garamond is not bad, but I tend to typically use Garamond only for either section headers, targeted headlines, or the name. So my name is an Arial, but this is how it would look if I change my name is not an Arial, my name is Georgia, or my name is in Georgia. So this is how this looks. I tend to play around with the font for people's names, just depending on, how it looks. Like, this looks a little too small to me. I would have had to make it bigger. So I believe that's why I ended up going with the Georgia font. But you can play around with whatever works for you. Just again, make sure that it's not super, difficult to read. Like some people will do, what's that cursive font that everyone likes? I've definitely seen this one before. And that's just like, this is tacky, y'all. This is so unprofessional. Do not use anything super cursive. Also, something notable or something to mention here, do not use italics throughout the document. It is one of the least favorite types of font styles in resumes for recruiters. They typically do not like to see anything italicized. If you italicize anything, you can do it for emphasis, but even still, I recommend bolding it or maybe underlining it versus using italics. Number 4 on this list is to keep all of your job information on one line and one line only. So what some people will do is they'll have the company name on one line, then have their job title, then have the time frame that they were there, then have the city and state. That's 4 lines of information. You are wasting space, y'all. Just have everything on one line. So have your job title, followed by the company name, followed by the city and state, followed by the time frame, so when you started and if the role is still current or whenever you departed from that position. Using multiple lines for your job information is a huge space waster, which again, if you're doing that, is going to make it a little bit challenging for you to stay within that 2-page resume length that we just talked about. And this is what I mean when I say keep your job information on one line. So what some people will do is they would have, this and then this, and then sometimes even have this on a line. That is excessive. If I were to do that for every job, that would push me past my 2-page length. So just a space saving hack. And I did record a video sharing some space saving resume tips. I highly recommend checking that video out for more tips. But yeah, stay away from putting everything on separate lines. It's not necessary. You don't need to. Number 5 on this list is to make sure that you are organizing your resume by using section headers. So by using section headers and breaking up the information, you're able to naturally guide the recruiter's eye through the document. So your education section should not be grouped in with your job experience. Your job experience shouldn't be grouped in with your skills. Like, you guys, I have seen so many resumes where it's just like a whole page of just a bunch of cluttered and clustered information, and I have to comb through it, line by line, item by item, and that means a recruiter is going to have to do the same thing. A cluttered resume, a disorganized resume is a big red flag, but it happens all the time. So to simply organize your resume, just make sure that you have section headers and different sections grouped accordingly as you are listing the different types of information that you will be in your resume. And again, these are the section headings section headers that I am referencing. So notice how, I have my work experience here. I have my, additional experience here. I have my education here. So for, where the information changes or shifts, I have a section header that clearly marks that so recruiters know the section that they're in and the information that they're going to be seeing. Sometimes I'll put skills right above my skills, but I feel like it's not really necessary because it's implied. So that's typically why I tend to not have, a header for my skills, but you can, and it doesn't need to be as big as the other ones. That's something to note. So I would keep this, the exact same. I wouldn't make it any bigger just because I just don't feel like it's necessary. The skills are here, they are implied. You can do that if you wanted to as well. And last on this list is to stay far away from using a lot of columns. It's acceptable to use one column on your resume to list your skills, and I did record a video giving you all a tutorial on how to properly format your skills on your resume, and using a column was like one of the top items that I did go over. Aside from that though, nothing else in your resume should be columnized, but people do this all the time. Like, they'll have 3 to 4 columns throughout their resume. Column 1 will be job 1, column 2 will be job 2, column 3 will be another job. Like, you don't want to do that, you guys. Columns can really be the death of resumes, yet there are so many templates out there that just have a gazillion columns, and they can do you a disservice. So if you have a column in your resume, make sure that it is only for your skills section. Do not use columns to list your education or your jobs or anything like that. That is not what columns are for, y'all. Just simply list your job descriptions and list your jobs, list your education, again, naturally, just from left to right. Utilize the full sentence space that you have on the document. So the full 11 inches or the full 9 inches, depending on the margins that you're using. Make sure that you are using all of the space end to end. What a lot of templates will do, especially templates that have columns, is that they will be using a fraction of the space, and that limits your ability to clearly communicate your experience and your value, and you never ever want to short sell yourself. To avoid doing that, just use that tip. And just to give you all an example of how columns can just be super crazy, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this job description here, and I'm just going to throw it in a column so that you would see what it would look like. You guys, look at how crazy, look at how crazy and confusing this looks. But people do this all of the time, and I hate it. Number one, columns take up more space. So naturally, my resume, my bullet points are all 1 to 2 lines. But as you can see, when I put them in columns, or should I do redo? Yeah. When I put them in columns, now they're like 3, 4, 5 lines, like they're chunky paragraphs. And this is just unnecessary. You do not need to do that. I decided not to lay my skills out in columns, but again, you can. If I were to lay these out in a column, 3 columns, this is what it would look like. So not bad. But again, notice how it takes up more space. So right now, my skills in columns are 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, give or take, because I know some of these are separated. But when I lay them out like this, it's just 3 lines. So I save space. And again, I cover this tip in my video where I talk about space saving resume tips as well. That's it, you guys. Those are some super simple, easy formatting tips to lay out your resume in Microsoft Word. I really hope that you found this video helpful. Again, I understand that for some people who are not super, adept at Microsoft Word, such as myself, when you sit down to write your resume or type out your resume, it can be a little intimidating, which is why a lot of people will go with templates, but you do not want to do that. Go ahead and watch this video that I recorded to learn more about the danger of using templates. But I really hope that you guys found this video helpful. If so, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button down below. If you have any additional questions in regards to laying out your resume in Microsoft Word that I did not cover in this video, go ahead and drop a comment in the comment box down below. If there's any particular tip that did stick out to you in this video that you will be utilizing, I'd like you to go ahead and drop that in the comment box as well. If you are a professional who needs assistance with your resume, maybe you realize that you don't have enough time to write your resume. Maybe you realize that writing is just not your strength, or maybe you're just not sure where to start, and laying out your resume and trying to communicate your value is just way more than you can handle. I would be more than happy to assist you. At this point in my resume writing career, I've been writing resumes for about 10 years, and I've written over 800 resumes thus far. My specialty is transforming bland, lackluster resumes into powerful selling tools that help career professionals land interviews 2 times faster in their job search. I am currently accepting clients. If you are interested in working with me and you would love to get started, please visit my website at www.thompsonresumes.com. For more resume, career, and job search tips from me, feel free to connect with me on social media. My Instagram platform is @_Mika Thompson, and you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. My profile name is Tamika Thompson. I do have an email list that you can subscribe to by clicking the link in the description box down below. If you are watching this video but you are not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can join my growing YouTube community. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will see y'all next time with another helpful video. Cheers to laying our resume out in Microsoft Word and no other platform that's going to keep us from getting past the ATS system, y'all. Bye.